Right. So Digital Sati is another program that we did last year, and this was again aimed towards school children studying in government schools. The idea was to increase digital access, and with the idea of inclusion, we started this program. Let me get into details. So this was designed and executed by Samar Shiksha to solve for the digital divide. So contrary to sort of popular belief, Himachal actually has a very good connectivity sort of situation where about 85% students and parents in the state are able to use platforms such as and smartphones and online mediums. However, we wanted to solve for the remaining 15% because the idea was to reach 100% of our student population in the state. For the children who had access, the 85%, we ran a very successful program called Har Ghar Pachala, which was picked up by the Ministry of Education also for replicability across states. For the other 15%, we did not want to sort of hold back and want to do something. One of the key challenges we identified was smartphone accessibility was a problem. And so we got the political leadership also excited about the idea of involving the community and other private sector individuals to participate and help out school students in giving access to smartphones. So a Digital Sati program was launched by the Education Minister, Honorable Education Minister on 9th June last year. There were three main stakeholders in this program. Government was anchoring the program from Samagra Shiksha. We had a lot of community members and various non-profit organizations and philanthropy organizations, as well as local community from Himachal state, which was also involved in contributing. And of course, we also reached out to various corporate sector organizations that I will elaborate on later. So as part of this program, there were 5-6 key components. The first was we wanted to be owned and fully driven by the political leadership in the state. So Honorable CM, Honorable Education Minister, both were very keenly involved and were driving the campaign. We wanted to extensively reach out to all sections of the population, even though we wanted to reach a very small number who had no access. We wanted awareness to be there in all sections of the state, that there were still a few children who did not have smartphones. We did not want to only give awareness without tracking. So there's a very rigorous tracking of exactly how we are communicating, as well as when we get the smartphones, how we deliver them, and then how are they integrated into the classroom teaching cycle. Everything was very rigorously tracked right till the child starts using it for everyday learning. We also wanted to build a one-stop solution for the teachers and the block officers who were ultimately given the nodal responsibility of making sure that the smartphones were ultimately reaching students. And we also wanted to involve the private sector, because in Himachal Pradesh, involvement of private sector in government school education has been limited. So this was also an opportunity where we could tap into the private sector corporations in Himachal to contribute to our students' learnings. We actually also had an all India sort of platform called Give India, which we collaborated with. And Give India had raised thousands of crores under COVID for various sections of the population in the country, and we collaborated with them to focus on Himachal Pradesh as well. So it was a big ticket launch, and the only idea for the launch was so that more and more people got aware about the program, and more people came forward for this program. And Honorable CM sort of inaugurated the program, and then Honorable CM inaugurated, and EM was there to answer questions and also appeal to the public. We also had brand ambassadors from Bollywood. So celebrity Ami Gautam was there, who sort of reached out to the masses through a video message, also through radio jingles, which were played out. If you give me a minute, I can actually play a recording also to show what message he played. Okay, I can't do that. Okay, never mind. Various sort of channels, newspaper channels, all India newspapers and local newspapers were also used. And ultimately, social media channels were also used, where we were able to reach over 2-3 lakh people through our campaigns. Once the awareness drive was done, then it was important to track how many donations we were getting. And so donations coming from private individuals in Himachal Pradesh, private individuals outside of Himachal Pradesh, and contributions from the corporate sector. All three were rigorously tracked. We had a portal that we had made for individual tracking of each device. What we also wanted to do was, whoever was donating, we did not want to put any pressure on them. So we arranged for free of cost logistics for picking up the phones from their homes and then getting it delivered to the schools. So everything was free of cost for the donor. Everything was also free of cost for the government. And we got private individuals and other non-profits to sort of chip in, so that it was convenient for all parties. As you see, there were sort of rigorous reviews and SPD-led reviews which were done on a weekly basis to do this. We also rigorously track our communication, because mostly communication becomes in a one-way street where we do a lot of campaign. We have no idea who is looking and who is not looking. So we also rigorously track the output of these awareness campaigns. And we saw that when the education minister launched, we had 45,000 people consuming content. When we had Yami Gautam as the sort of celebrity involved, around 2 lakh people also got involved. And other means had led relatively low sort of impact. Now, through the portal, as I was saying, it was a very systematic and clean process and transparent process, where schools were giving demand on what number of smartphones they wanted from this campaign, basis the number of children who were in need. Basis the demand that we got, we did a centralized allocation of smartphones, and the criteria was very simple. The first recipients were BPL girls, then BPL boys, then APL girls, and then APL boys. And from this sort of simple algorithm, we were able to communicate also on the ground what we were doing, and we also were able to maintain a transparent process. Once the demand aggregation was done and allocation was done, then distribution was also done right to the district level, where block offices were given the mandate to collect it from districts. As soon as block offices collected the smartphones, we had a portal where each smartphone was mapped to a SRN number, a student registration number of each student. So that we had every phone donated linked to a child. This also was important because we gave the information of which child is using your phone to the event to the donor also, so that they also felt happy about their donation. And this was sort of the platform that we were using, a very clean platform which the public was using in Himachal Pradesh for Digital Sati. You could donate a smartphone as individuals. You could donate a smartphone as corporate. You could see our frequently asked questions. You could also track your smartphone like you track your packages on Amazon. So it is very easy. We also had a toll-free number as call center where this could be, you could get information. As part of our corporate tie-ups, we had 7 major banks who donated phones in bulk. We had corporate offices in Himachal Pradesh who donated smartphones. We tapped into the pharmaceutical sort of belt in Solan, largely who had industries for this, and various other charitable foundations and philanthropic agencies were also involved. As I said in the beginning, Give India is an all-India platform, raised thousands of crores for different things. We also tapped into their platform and network to get funds and phones for our students. Ultimately, if you see numbers, the number were not very high because the demand that we got from individual students was around 4,259. Very specifically, smartphones were demanded across the state, of which we were able to deliver close to 3,000 schools, 3,000 sort of smartphones. The amount collected was close to somewhere around 2 to 3 crores. And so therefore, the amount corresponding to sort of what the number of smartphones we wanted, we were still not able to reach maybe 1,000 students. But still, from a perspective of state, community, and private sector coming together to solve for a crisis during COVID, we think it was a much needed initiative. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. It's in fact complements the earlier presentation vis-a-vis supplements also. And this is it's a very ambitious, initiative, because you are indulging in providing smartphones. And further, you have successfully also started getting contributions from the individuals, communities, banks, vis-a-vis funds through the CSR, and and also supported by the celebrities. So as and when as the program speaks about itself as a successful and useful and outcome oriented, so it will have, demand numerically so much so that you need to be proactive as to how to mobilize funds and maximizing the sources available. So in May, I don't have much to say, but maybe the smartphone producers may be also mobilized to provide some support in providing the tool itself for the benefit of the in the project you have. That is very good, because in fact these two are going too well. I appreciate that you did combine, because that project and this project have distinction of their own. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
This is a very good initiative towards inclusive education, especially during Corona pandemic. I appreciate it. Only one question, which is a genuine question from my side. You distributed the smartphones to the children who needed them, right? And now that actual classrooms are starting, I think Himachal was one of the first states to start, because you inoculated everybody. The vaccination drive was,
yes,
you were the first state to complete 100% vaccination. So you probably started those schools much earlier than everybody. Now the children are going back to school. Are you taking back those smartphones, or you are still letting them have it?
No, ma'am, we are not taking any smartphones. In fact, we have a full plan ready of how to use them now. So we have a model of blended learning. Yes.
Yeah, that is one thing. Or another thing you can do is, of course, collecting them and getting it back to headquarters for redistribution is much more hassle. So probably that's out of question. But what you can probably do is, like, you are distributing through schools. You are not giving directly to the students. Students are getting it, but at least you are doing it through schools. So if the schools can have a repository and you can use it for educational purposes, because nowadays lot of apps are coming, educational apps are coming, and in the schools they may be needing to teach students through those apps. So can they make use of these phones which are distributed through the schools, instead of you taking it back? I'm not saying that you take it back, but you can reuse them in the schools itself.
Right, ma'am, we are creating a digital library of these phones. Exactly what you're saying, we have initiated. So we are very thankful for your feedback also, because this is validating what we are doing. So we are doing a digital library model where we will have these phones at the school level.
Because then you can use these phones.
Correct. Absolutely.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Members. Develop in the tribal areas of Chhattisgarh, especially through the hostels and ashrams we have established. So this is the state information, and our state was formed in 2000. Members. Develop in the tribal areas of Chhattisgarh, especially through the hostels and ashrams we have established. So this is the state information, and our state was formed in 2000, and there is it is 9th state as per the geographical area is concerned. We have 65% tribal subplan area, and also 60%, more than 60% scheduled area in our state under 5th schedule of the constitution. We have ST population more than 78 lakh as per 2011 census, and SC population is almost 12.81% as per 2011 census. There is a sex ratio which is healthy amongst tribals, which is 1013 out of 1000. Also, the literacy rate of the state is 70.28% as per the 2011 census, whereas the literacy rate of the scheduled tribes is 59.09%, and which is almost equal to national average. But the literacy rate among tribal women or the females are less than the males, which is 48.76%, and 42 tribals resides in our state. So this is the picture of the state. Now, as per the directive principle of the state policy under Article 46, it narrates that the promotion of educational and economic interests of the scheduled castes and scheduled tribes and other weaker section is expected from the states. In our state, as it was inception of the state was November 2000 onwards. In tribal areas, there is the low enrollment rate at primary level as well as secondary level. There is high dropout rate amongst tribals at both primary and secondary level. There is loss of time of lifetime opportunities for them because of that, and also they caught in the vicious cycle of poverty and backwardness due to the poor education. So it leads to the establishment of tribal residential academic institutions for tribal students so that they may come out of this vicious cycle of poverty and backwardness and they may join the mainstream of our society. So this project, development of departmental hostels and ashrams as model institutions, is one of the leading example of that. In our state, we run as department ashram shalas for boys and girls from class 1 to class 10, as well as hostels from class 6 up to university level. In ashram shalas, in the same premises, the boys and girls they reside, and also their education is conducted in the same premises, whereas hostel facilities are provided for the residents and mess facility of the students where they are studying in other locations nearby the hostels. Now these hostel and ashrams provide great opportunity to these tribal students because they don't have residential facilities nearby the schools, so that there is a difficulty for them to attend schools on regular basis. So on that account, these hostels and ashrams are very important tools for their education. There are 3,228 ashrams and hostels in our states. The sanction sheets are from 50 to up to 200 per institution, and the seats sanctioned in these hostels and ashrams are more than 192,000. The infrastructure arrangement in these tribal hostels and ashrams, we are improving that. So these hostels and ashrams, most of them have their own buildings. There are separate residential arrangements for boys and girls. There is earmarked budget for maintenance work of these hostels and ashrams. And now we are providing modernized facilities in these hostels and ashrams. So here is picture of one hostel, which is Lakhanpuri in Kanker district in tribal area, where you can see the students are studying in off-school hours in the library of the hostel, and also they are using the computer facility available in the hostels. Now the key feature of the model institutions, here with the infrastructure development, we have old hostels and ashrams. So we have developed them as model ashrams by renovating their infrastructure. We have also provided them additional facilities in these hostels and ashrams. Health and hygiene is also maintained in these hostels by providing them clean drinking water, and they are providing them the modern toilets, and also their health checkup is regularly done through the uh, uh, health establishment there, and as well as by providing them their health checkup through impaneled doctors from our scheme of Swasthan and Swasthaman Yojana. For academic resources in hostels and ashrams, we have provided them computer lab. We have also provided them library where they can learn their office school hours, as well as they may prepare for their competitive examinations through the books. We have provided them in hostels and ashrams in their libraries. We also provide them newspapers and magazines. There are Rozgar Samachar like newspapers, which also they learn and they knew about the details of the various competitive examinations and the jobs available. Also, the hostel and ashrams have eco-friendly systems, like we provide them electricity through solar power. Also, the modern kitchen facilities available, and we are also developed kitchen gardens in these hostels and ashrams to supplement the nutritional requirements of the students in these hostels and ashrams. The extracurricular activities also promoted in these institutions. There are sport facilities, gardening, and outdoor gym facilities also available in these modern institutions. Now, the challenges which we have faced while we have to develop these institutions as model institutions. First of all, there was a limited space in these institutions. So we have we have to renovate the old infrastructure available in these hostels and ashrams. There was no separate rooms for computer labs, library. There was absence of computers, accessories, and other equipments. Also, furnishing was required for the bedrooms, dining halls, and there was also very shortage of books in libraries. And there is also a limited budget allotment for conducting these improvements. So all these were the challenges we have faced while developing these institutions as model ones. Now, what solutions which we implemented is the renovation and restoration of old infrastructure. So we did all the renovation work in the available space in the hostels and ashrams. The computer lab was set up by partitioning the available rooms in the hostels and ashrams. We have also set up the library rooms in the same way. Now, to furnish these computer labs and libraries, we took keep the interest of the children on priority. Dining hall was also constructed using open space which was available in these hostels and ashrams. Neat and clean modern toilets were constructed in the premises of the hostels and ashrams. At present, department runs 3,278 hostels and ashrams, and their development as model institutions at one go was not possible with the allotted funds to the department. Therefore, we have taken these hostels and ashrams in phased manner to develop them as model institutions. Now, this is the first phase of the development. So we took the Bastar division hostels and ashrams, which is a backward region and the tribal area of our state. So there we took 70 institutions from each of the 7 districts of the Bastar division, as well as we took 5 each from Garhwal and Dhamti districts of the state. So in first phase, we took 80 institutions to develop them as model institutions. The sanction sheets were more than 7,000 in these institutions, and we provided them a budget of 25 lakh per institutions for the development of infrastructure and other facilities. Now, here are some pictures of these institutions after develop them as model institutions. You may see here that there is a kitchen garden is there. The students are working in these kitchen gardens. The students of primary schools are studying in the Assam Shalas. In the picture, which is in the bottom left corner of the bottom. Also, we have we have developed the dining hall. You may see it in using the space inside the hostel, and we covered that space, open space, and we have used them as a dining hall. There's also we provided the students open gym and sports facilities and other playing area in our playground available in our hostels and ashrams. So these are some interventions we have we did in to develop our hostels and ashrams. In second phase, we took the Sarguja division of our state, which is northern side of our state. In first phase, the modern institutions were to be developed in the southern region of the state. So in second phase, it was the northern area of our state. 66 institutions were to be developed in 7 districts of the state, having 1,650 seats sanctioned in these institutions. Here are some pictures of the institutions which have been developed as model institutions. So we have computer facility now. We have very well established bedroom facility. We have library facility. We have a purified drinking water facility available. So all these facilities we have provided in these hostels and ashrams. Here are some pictures. The students are studying in the classroom, and in office school hours, the hostel superintendent is taking the class of the students in the facility available in the hostels. In third phase, we are now developing 93 institutions in the remaining areas of our states, which is the plain area, having in these institutions 4,650 seats are available. We have also provided funds for these development of these institutions, 25 lakh rupees to each institution. So now in 3 phases, we have covered the northern area, southern area, and the plain area of our state. In first phase, after the development of these institutions as modern institutions, we also took interest to develop them academically. So our belief is not to develop our institutions as modern institutions only by developing their infrastructure facilities, but we want to develop them as learning centers for these students of our tribal area. So you can see the result of these institutions. So after develop these institutions as model ones, the all 742 students enrolled in these institutions have passed the examination in class 10th. Out of them, 323 passed in first division, and more than 50 students passed the examination by achieving more than 80% marks. Similarly, in class 12, 414 students were enrolled. All of them have passed examination. More than 170 students passed it in first division, and out of them, 23 passed the examinations, having more than 80% of marks. Similarly, in second phase also, this is the result. In class 10 to 38 students were enrolled. All have passed examinations with more than 205 students. More than 200 students passed it in first division. Similarly, in class 12, 153 students were enrolled. All these students have passed the examination. Out of them, 110 passed in first division, and 80% have passed. 22 of them passed it with having more than 80% of marks. So we may see it that. Previously, the students, though they were enrolled in the institutions, but the passing percentage was less than 70%. So now we can see that all the students are passing the examination. So which is one of the achievements of these institutions after we have developed them as modern institutions.
Sir, sorry to interrupt you. I request you please conclude in another 2 minutes.
Okay. Now we may see it. We have already explained it, so I may go to next slide. Now, the examination result has been excellent due to establishment of standard boarding lodging facilities. Now the parents are satisfied And with the logistical arrangements, we are providing the students in these institutions, and parents of scheduled tribes and other scheduled castes and other backward classes are now exhibiting enthusiasm and their interest in securing admission of their children in these institutions. Now, we have also developed a monitoring system with the name, giving them this name to this system as hostel management system. Through this system, we track the uh, uh, facilities available and which is provided to the student online using this hostel management system. So this is also one of the tools to monitor the progress and the development and day-to-day functioning of these institutions. Thank you.
Jury members. Panda sir.
Okay. Thank you. But this is one of the important areas of improvement, bringing improvement in the situation of the students and hostels and ashram schools. I know that there are ashram schools from the tribal department. There are model schools. There are Eklavya schools, and that your school. How do you grade and compare with all these things? Are they are on par, or they are having a different way of implementation? Number two is that you see you are educational achievements passed out students in different grades or different positions. What is the percentage of scheduled tribe and scheduled caste passed out with distinction or first person, and especially the girls? So this is something areas that I have personally visited Kanker and many other places a couple of years back, hostels I've seen. Yeah, facilities have improved, but there is a lot to be improved in terms of the quality of education. Although they pass out, students are not very, in competitive in terms of the rest of the advanced areas. So what steps you are taking, as you are taking some tutorials to give additional inputs for make the students more competitive and more enthusiastic in the learning process?
So we have, sir, more than 3,000 hostels and ashrams in our state, whereas we have 73 club institutions we run in the tribal areas. Also, we run some other institutions in the name of Prayas schools in our by the department in these areas. Also, there are more than 60,000 primary schools run by the education department in these areas, which are at primary level. We have more than 6,500 schools run by the education department at secondary level, and more than 1,300 schools at higher secondary level. Now, these hostels and ashrams are providing facilities to the tribal students, as well as scheduled caste students, so that they are able to live in the area where the schools are located. As we know that the high schools and higher secondary schools located in the urban, semi-urban areas or small towns, they are not located in each village of the state, whereas the primary schools are located almost in all the villages of the states. So for students who are at secondary level and higher secondary level, these hostel and ashrams are very important for them. They reside here. The cost and the best facilities are provided to them, and because of this, their enrollment and their retention in these schools are increased, and the dropout rate has been reduced, and this helped for their achievements in the field. So that's why the result is now improving in the schools which are located in tribal areas of our state. So these hostels and ashrams are the backbone of the education of the tribal students as well as scheduled caste students especially in the tribal areas of our state, and that helps to overcome the dropout and also the problem of retention in the schools. Now, as far as the quality education is, So there are A-level residential, model residential schools are there. So infrastructure in these hostel and ashrams are not at par with the what we have in residential schools, because we provide there the lot of funds compared to these hostels and ashrams. But in phased manner, we are developing these hostels and ashrams so that some kind of facility may give in we may give in hostel and ashrams also, and these hostels and ashrams also provide the Eklavya Vidyalayas the feeding cadre, so that we know that these Eklavya Vidyalayas run from class 6 to 12th, whereas these hostels and ashrams run from class 1. So the students residing in these hostels and ashrams may appear in examination for these Eklavya entrance examinations. So in that way, these hostels and ashrams are important, and they provide the feeding cadre for these Eklavya Vidyalayas in our state. And as far as the quality education is concerned in the tribal areas, we are now developing these institutions by providing them a computer facility. We are providing them library and other facilities. Now in the library, we are providing them the textbooks, the books of competitive examinations at that level. So, and also providing them coaching facility in these ashrams, especially in English and science streams, so that this helps the students to improve their shortcomings in this subject, may be able to compete with other students for the entrance examinations conducted by these institutions like Eklavya Vidyalayas. We have also Prayas Vidyalayas in our run by our department, as the Naxal, the students affected by the Naxal violence, they study in these schools, and these schools provide not only the education to them from class 9 to 12, but as well as to providing coaching for the competitive examinations like JEE Main, JEE NEET examinations for admission in medical colleges, etc. So these institutions also conduct entrance examinations, and you may be happy to know that more than 50,000 students from these tribal areas, they appear for the entrance examination of the class schools. Most of these students, they reside in our hostels and ashrams. They compete in these examinations, and they are successfully get the admission in this class, and many of them are now successful in JEE Main advanced entrance examinations as well. So in that way, these hostels and ashrams are very important tools for the education system in the tribal area. And by developing them as model institutions, this will help us in our endeavor to develop by providing them quality education. And, and nowadays, the access of education in tribal areas is no issue, but the yes, there is some issue in quality education.
All right.
And the most important thing is, sir, the important thing is that the lack of trained teachers in so such institutions like schools, they overcome this kind of shortcomings and help us to provide students quality education.
I myself visited several schools and residential hostels, etc. See, there are two aspects that really strike me, that a good amount of time is gone to, in providing cooking, all this management, cooking and kitchen and all these things. So have you rationalized the time, because lots of people are interested in this, at least talk more in cooking and feeding. Number two is that to see what is the reduction in the dropout because of these efforts.
So earlier, yes, you right. You are right that the most of gone in these logistical support provided to the students for their residential facility and mess facility. But now we have set a timetable in these institutions. So we, by taking care of the logistic support provided to the students in these institutions, we give enough time for students, education of these students in the hours. by providing them reading facility in the library, coaching in office schools hour in the hostels and ashrams. So this good results in these for the students which are residing in our hostels and ashrams.
Thank you. Is there any reduction in the dropout rates?
Yes, sir. Obviously, these institutions, there are students, they live 24/7 for the 10 months of in a educational session, and the dropout is less than 1% institutions.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
No doubt there is great improvement in the living quarters as well as the facilities, educational facility. But the data you shown on the outcomes, for example, the number of pass percentage, that is also good because 100% pass percentage is there for the first phase as well as second phase. But when you are showing the number of boys passed with more than 70% and more than 80%, instead of giving numbers, if you could have given some percentages, it would have been easy to compare. And you should give it, given that comparison between what was before and what is after, or like what is before and what is in the first phase, what is in the second phase. I was just roughly calculating the percentage, and I found that the first phase, the 10th pass was something around more than 70% was something around maybe 7 to 8% of the students who got. And on the 12th standard, that was 80%, was something around say 5%. But that's a very rough calculation in my head. If you can give a table with a comparison, it will be much more, discernible for everybody. That is number one. Number two, you have on the legend on the table, you have said number of boys securing more than 70% and 80%. I understand it's a boys as well as girls are there. What is the
Yes.
girls' pass percentage? You have not mentioned anything about girls. You just said about boys. So if you can make that correction. So will you please update your table and send it to SKOCH? Because otherwise, what data you are sending is not very, it's not very impressive that way. If you make a percentage and give it before and after, like before 2021, what was the dropout rate? Like 100% pass percentage on 2021, 21, 22. But what was there before? Maybe 1920. So if that and that you give in terms of number is okay, but if you give the percentage, it becomes much more sense.
Okay.
That's all. But otherwise, the facilities are very good. I mean, we can see that. And also, one more thing you should have mentioned, which is not there. You have provided them sports facility and gyms. Have they gone into some kind of a sports competition at the state level, district level, or any level? No outcome on the sports has been shown. So if you can improve, because when we are talking about scheduled tribes, and we all know the whole country, the sports person among the scheduled tribes is much higher, and they are doing well in say football, hockey, even the single item athletics. They are always better. So if you can show them by providing facilities, you are improving that quality also in them, it will make much more sense. That is missing in your presentation.
So we may improve it. Actually, the whole presentation was to be wind up in 15 minutes. That's not so.
You can send it. See, if you have those
Sure.
slides, you can send it.
Okay, ma'am.
Right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Take you through this presentation of ease of doing business, simplifying business in Maharashtra as far as Labor Department is concerned.
Ma'am, your presentation is visible. You can start.
Just give me a minute, please. introduction, objectives, challenges. One by one, I'll take you through all these contents. I'll just quickly run through the introduction. The establishment of Labor Department in Maharashtra, which happened in 1921. Immediately, as in 2 years later, the establishment of the ILO, the International Labour Organization. We've just celebrated our centenary year last year, and we deal with the formulation and implementation and enforcement of various labor laws. We enforce around 32 labor laws across the state, which include the state and the central labor laws. About the ease of doing business, everyone knows that the World Bank has, ranks all the countries based on the index of the ease of doing business, and DPIIT, the Department of Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, Government of India partners with the World Bank to assess this ranking of the states. India ranked 63rd in 2019. 2021 survey has not taken place. Maharashtra stood 13th in 2019. The Department of Maharashtra has been focusing on simplification and rationalization of the statutory compliances for facilitating the businesses in Maharashtra. And we've been doing this since 2015. The department deliberated on digitalization and reduction of compliance burden on the businesses to advocate the Make in India initiative. The Department of Labor is one of the pioneers. As I said, we started all our services, online services, in 2015. So we are one of the pioneers in implementing the absolute digitalization methodology, not only in the state, but also in the country. And also in state, Department of Labor is one of the first to come up with the online services. The department launched its online portal in 2015 called Labor Management System for providing its services in online mode, and it's functioning smoothly and efficiently since. We are also linked with the state's industry portal, that is Maitri, and the National Single Window System of the central government. The government extends its support in digital transformation by rolling out government resolutions from time to time, which helps us in doing the ease of doing business. The department deals with services for registrations and licensing under various labor laws, that is Shop Act, Contract Labor, BOCW Act, Motor Transport Workers Act, and BD&C Workers Act. The objectives: reducing compliance burden, of course, the major objective, to attract more investments in the state by reducing the compliance burden on the businesses. This is done through self-assessment, through industry suggestions, and various stakeholders' feedbacks, and the department's initiatives and reforms that are received from the DPIIT. Thorough digitalization of the department. We have all our services online, no services entertained manually since 2015. Streamlining processes for ease of doing business. Single platform for all services, ensuring transparency in processes and procedures. Everything is online at the tip of the fingers of the users. They don't have to visit offices. There's no manual work that takes place, and there are defined timelines for each service. So every registration or license is delivered within a specified timeline. Drafting policies and schemes aligning with ease of doing business. Challenges that we've faced while coming up with electronic mode: changing the traditional work methodology. As we all know, the government, until recent, we worked manually only, and even the officers, they only dealt with manual papers. It was all in black and white. People had to visit personally, know and understand procedures, then apply, then go back, fill up form, bring in, again wait for approvals, and there was all the manual work that happened in the office level also. So it took a long time for us to change that mindset, right from the users and the departments level. Resistance from end users, though a few of them had this suggestion earlier also that we should be coming up with online services earlier. Uh, while we were actually working on it, we saw people saying that why are you changing these processes, because it's all functioning so smoothly, and this change we might not be able to adapt, and we will not be able to work on your systems. How will we know how to apply, who to approach? And this was also one of the major challenges for us to come online. Training the officers in charge and end users, another thing, because very few officers by then knew how to operate computers. We had major retirements in 2017, and we came up electronic in 2015. So most of them who were the notified officers didn't really were user friendly, or they didn't really know how to work on computers. So that was also one of the challenges for us to train them. Formulation of support desk to resolve queries of the users availing the services of the department. Though there's a state's in the IT department which has helped us a lot in launching all these portals. However, while it came to entertaining a single user, we had really less manpower or skilled manpower per se to keep a track or to let people know how to work on these online portals. So we had to we wanted to set up a support desk. For that, we sent a proposal to the central government, and ultimately we got the approval for that. We have a support desk formulated now, and it is functioning smoothly, and they're assisting end users and the department officials also to process those applications timely. Outcomes: introduction of single window system. Of course, everything, all those services that we provide are through LMS, labor management system. Documentation, it's all online. There are no physical copies that are required to be submitted in the office. It's paperless. Simplification of processes, defined SOPs, timelines, procedures, this transparency. While launching the portal, we came up with all those manuals that a user must go through while applying for any single service, and then that eased it further for them. 100% online processes, physical visits have been eliminated. Instant delivery of services, as I said, Right to Public Services Act 2015 defines all these timelines for each service, and these services are provided in those timelines. Elimination of unnecessary processes and licenses. This is one major step we've taken further. We've recreated our Shop Act in 2017, which was a major chunk, which formed a major chunk on the online applications also. Earlier, it was applicable to all those establishments, irrespective of number of workers employed. We removed 0 to 9. We removed 0 to 9 workers, establishments employing 0 to 9 workers, and the eligibility now is for only those establishments which employ 10 or more workers. So the registration, of course, is only for those establishments which are eligible for this. For 0 to 9, we've made intimation mandatory, which is also taken online. Renewal has been abolished. Earlier, it used to be renewed every year. The Shop Act license was to be issued, renewed every year. Now we've abolished that, and this one-time registration is provided to the employers. Plus, we've also waived off the fees that we used to charge earlier. It's free of cost, one time, and no renewal required. That too only for 10 and more employees. This is a short slide for comparison that what used to be earlier and what happens now. So what used to be, as I said, physical visits, documentation, repeated visits, long timelines, delayed processes, undefined timelines, and the status also was not known to the end users earlier unless they received any communication from the office or unless they visited the office. Now it's all online. It's no paperwork and no physical visits. Data is also stored digitally, so there is no paper that is to be maintained, no applications to be maintained physically. Alerts are sent to the users through SMS and emails, so they know the status of their applications, whether it has been submitted or rejected or approved, or and even if rejected, for what reasons. Ease in reapplication. Earlier, if the application was not up to the mark or there were any lacunas, the applicant had to visit the office to resubmit the documents. Now it is again online. They receive an alert on rejection, then they go back to their logins, submit the documents that are not provided earlier, and then reapply. So it is within minutes that they can do it now. We've also come up with the online integrated return, that is consolidated annual return, which was separate for all labor laws earlier. We have now come up with a consolidated annual return, which includes all the labor laws, returns under all labor laws. So the employer who is eligible under various labor laws doesn't have to file returns separately and manually. They can just do it online through this single window consolidated annual return. Lack of awareness that used to be earlier. Now we've taken a good initiative for awareness amongst the users and the service availers. We've done a massive social media campaign also during the pandemic, especially when we were working online, not just for these electronic services, but otherwise also. It used to be time consuming process, and now it's time efficient and hassle free. Salient features: introduction of an online single window system. I just spoke about it. Apart from these online or electronic applications, we are also working on major amendments in the state rules and acts. Though they are not directly related to the services, and some of them are also related to the services. In 2015 only, when we came electronic, we made a major amendment in the Contract Labor Act, where the eligibility earlier was for 20 or more workers, and then we amended it to 50 and more workers. So the only those contractors who have 50 or more workers employed are now eligible for getting this application, this license. Similarly for the principal employer also. Again, shop and establishment, as I said, 0 to 9 is removed. Only 10 and more workers wherever are employed, the employer is supposed to take this registration, which is one time.
Please conclude.
Formulation of support desk, we did that we succeeded in that in 2020, and it helped a lot because during the pandemic it was all closed, and there were, even if inevitable, no physical visits were allowed.
Ma'am, sorry to interrupt you. I request
Support
you to
desk
please
also ensures
conclude
timely
Please
delivery.
in another
conclude.
1 minute.
They help users to they assist in various things, right from documentation to application.
All right. I mean, we got it. So
Central inspection system, sir, I'll just take 2 minutes. We also have a central inspection system, and now we've also introduced a complaint-based inspection system. So to come up with, or to just finish the Inspector Raj, there are no inspections now that are happening just as per the wish of the inspector. It is randomized, it is system-based, and it is complaint-based. There are third-party verification also that has been introduced, and this need was felt when various authorities, when The contractors approached them for some work. The authorities wrote back to us asking if this online certificate is valid or not. So this need was felt, and we came up with this third-party verification, wherein all the government authorities also, whenever a contractor approaches them, can verify using that particular link whether the application or the license or registration submitted by them is valid. Introduction of various schemes, publications, and various government resolutions. We've allowed employers to maintain registers and records in electronic form, which was only done manually earlier. This self-certification provision that has been introduced, wherein if an employer undertakes to, as in self-certifies himself, there are no inspections happening for 5 years at least. The security deposit for the... Yes, sir.
Yeah, you're done?
Yes, sir. As in, just to end up with, we've come up with complete online solution. It's all digitalized. All our services are delivered online on time, and it's a win-win for us because even smaller businessmen have been removed from many of the provisions, and we all also have, because it is online, we've received good number of employers online. So all those who did not really apply, even if it was required, they are also now applying to us.
All right.
Thank you.
Anything else?
That's it, sir.
Okay. See, I mean, I understand the objective of your presentation is that you have utilized, maximized the electronic system and the benefits that comes up to digitalization. You have enumerated all of them. And these are no exception because many states are doing the same. One thing just I want to educate myself to you. You are the labor department. Your essential mandate is to see the welfare, protection, and other interests of the laborer. But if I go through your presentations, it is slightly gone otherwise. But otherwise, in sense, you have labor-centered, the scheme is not there. All that is that you are making business, easing out the business. So, I mean, how does the labor department, with the given mandate, come to this kind of area, which is not synchronizing? Explain to me, please.
Sir, we have other online portal also. We are functioning. The labor part is also taken care online. The resolution of disputes or the registration of workers. We have portals for building and other construction workers. And in fact, that is one of our allied offices, and that they have already applied, nominated, and won this SKOCH, separately. So I did not include that part in my presentation. I stuck only to the EODB part because this is something that we've not really, approached to SKOCH for this.
Now, one would like to see as to what you are doing specifically for the well-being of laborers for which you are mandated. Implementing the legislations are there, legislation across the country, there, labor related legislations. The question is that how you have out of box gone the way to implementing the legislations for ensuring the well-being of the laborers. That is what was missing.
Right, sir. Though we take online applications also for the...
No, you can send it later. It's all right. It's no problem.
Okay.
You can send it.
Okay.
Am I done?
See, this project is concerning ease of doing business, right?
Yes.
And you are digitalized the thing. Everybody knows that if you are properly digitalizing a process or a system, you get benefits. And all the benefits you will have listed are the benefits accrued due to digitalization. Maybe a simple step of process reengineering by eliminating the minimum number of workers to be or laborers to be there for registration. Those things are but those are minor things. I will not consider them to be very important in the whole scheme of things. In whole presentation, I didn't find a single uh, outcome which could have said that by doing this your ease of doing index has improved. For example, if by implementing this portal or online system, you have reduced the number of days taken for granting a license, for registering a business, or for giving some certificate or issuing a clearance to the either the business or somebody who wants to set up a business or the person who is already doing business. Those kind of things which is specific to ease of doing business is not reflected. What you have said is all right, they are also correct, but they are general advantages of digitalization. So can you give one or two of very specific outcome relating to ease of doing business? Because otherwise ease of doing business is implemented by many states in our country, and they have achieved a lot. I didn't see a single achievement from your side.
Yes, ma'am. See, as far as reducing the timeline is concerned, we have reduced the timeline significantly, because now the Shop Act registration or building and other construction workers registration or contract labor workers registration, which used to take months earlier, are now given in one day. For example, Shop Act timeline is 1 day, so it has to be delivered in 1 day. Contract labor is delivered within 7 days. BOCW is delivered within 7 days. Similarly, motor transport 15 days. BD cigar 15 days. Interstate migrant, because there are
clearances. What about clearances? Because when it depends on one department, it's fine. But when you are talking about clearances, because you have integrated different departments. Suppose I want to set up industry, and I need clearance for 3 departments, say electricity department, water supply, and land use, forest. Say these 4 departments, and I'm applying for a clearance. How soon do you give through your portal? And what was the time taken before? Like that kind of comparison will really help us in evaluating your project.
I understand, madam, because I'm only representing one department, so I stuck to the department.
But when we are talking about ease of doing business, it's not one department. The clearances have to be given by multi departments, and if you are acting as the nodal department for ease of doing business, then you have to coordinate back in coordination between all other departments, isn't it? And that's what all other states are doing, and then only you can improve your ranking from 19th to whatever.
Okay, just one.
Somebody has to coordinate, because if an entrepreneur to get a clearance has to go to 10 departments, then it is very difficult for him to do so, and this portal doesn't really help him.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, the industries department is the nodal department for UDB for the state, and because, as I said, I represent labor department and I'm the nodal officer for labor department only. I stuck to
So you're doing only one part.
Yes.
So basically, yeah, you are doing a part of UODB, but it's not the full UODB for the state. Right. Okay, I understand. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Is my screen visible to?
Yes, sir. Your screen is visible. You can start.
Okay. Right. So I'll try and complete on time. E-Samvad, let me start from the beginning. So we used to take. So there used to be 3 kinds of problems. The teacher also had problems, the parent also had problems, and the state government also had problems. Let me talk about what kind of problems. So 2019 se pehle, before 2019, the teacher felt that she could not communicate with parents about how the children were doing in the classroom. She could not fully capture all assessment data of the child in one single platform. She could also not very simply do all the administrative tasks that she had to do as part of her job. And she was asked a lot of online data all the time from the department. Ki aap ye de dijiye, kal ko wo de dijiye. Also, she was not able to share any online data material, videos, worksheets with the children in her class. So that was a problem being faced by the teacher. Similarly, the parents of these students who were studying in government schools also faced problems. As a parent, I did not know how my child was doing. I did not ever get a report card from the school. When I was asked to come for the parent-teacher meetings, there also the teacher did not have any data to show how my child was performing in terms of attendance, in terms of learning outcomes, in terms of other participation in the classroom. And I also actually was not aware when the school was closed, when the school was open. Basic information was not readily available. The state government also at the same time faced many issues. How do I have adequate information about all children in my state in government schools? Do I have at any given point of time information about how many students are attending school today? What number of students will require remedial teaching in the schools in government in Himachal Pradesh? All these information were mostly absent. A solution to all these kinds of problems was what we call an eSamvad. eSamvad was a simple mobile application launched in 2019, which enabled student data access to all stakeholders. But this was a teacher-first app. Every teacher was supposed to use this app. And let me elaborate on the 5 key modules that are functional in this app since 2019. The first use case that we developed was all children data with unique IDs. Before this, unique IDs of children was also not present. So eSamvad helped develop unique IDs for all children in the state. After development of unique IDs, the teacher was able to send SMSs to parents of these students in a decentralized manner. And these messages could be about basic information about the school, basic information about when exams are going to happen, information about results of the students, and so forth. The teacher could also capture student enrollment and student attendance on a daily basis on this app. All assessment data, whether it is formative assessment, which happens multiple times in the year, or summative assessments, which are half-yearly and annual exams, competency level data of the child for each subject could be captured on this app. A new feature that we developed on this app is also for grades 1, 2, and 3, where foundational learning and numeracy is very important. Oral reading fluency is of value to measure how many words the child can read in a minute. And so we have actually collaborated with Google here. And we have an oral reading fluency module also, which is active on this app. Another thing that is active on the app is that all children are now given a report card. It's a simple report card basis all the assessment data, attendance data, oral reading fluency data that is captured, and a report card is being developed on this app. All the data that comes on through the platform also obviously goes on to multiple dashboards, which are used across various levels, right from the school principal level till the chief minister of the state. Why is it unique? It is unique because it is the first government education app which started off as a very simple tool, but has now evolved into a quasi-MIS system for the state because Himachal faced very unique issues and we could not start with a very centralized MIS. And so this became a bottom-up MIS almost for the state. This is also the first government education app which is built fully from open source tech components. And so therefore, we are very happy to share the source code with all other states. Every module can be used separately as a separate app. So it is fully modular and open source. It costs nothing to the government and very replicable also. The third very important thing is it is not a centralized app, right? So there's a lot of autonomy and empowerment that is given to the teacher to be able to use this app for her classroom teaching, to be able to communicate with the parents of the children in her class, and also not depend on the state for simple things when it comes to data availability. And fourth and important, because as a state, in Himachal, we face some connectivity issues in specific parts of the state. Offline mode is available in this app so that teachers can use this app in offline mode. Whenever they get internet, the app automatically gets synced. Here, I'm trying to say three things, and these are some of the advanced features that we've been able to develop in the app. This is the first app that was able to link with Diksha via APIs. And so all material that is available on Diksha, whether it is for teacher training or it is for student consumption videos, everything is now available on eSamvad because Diksha is now linked to eSamvad. As I said in the earlier also, this is the first government app which has been able to link with Read Along, which is Google's technology of voice recognition to develop oral reading fluency levels of students. And the third and another unique feature was we were running WhatsApp bot-based quizzes in the state under our Har Ghar Pachala campaign. And student ID of these children, which was developed from eSamvad, were linked to these WhatsApp chatbots. And so therefore we were able to track how many children were doing what chatbots. And on the screen, if you see the third sort of screen, there you see a template of a message that children were able to see. And whenever the child did a quiz on WhatsApp, it was fully linked to their unique ID. And so we did not have to do a lot of data manipulation or integration. It was already done for the child. All data that comes on the app, that's collected through the app, comes onto dashboards. And dashboards that, as I said, are at various levels, right from the chief minister down to the block level and also to the cluster level, down to the school. We get attendance data, we get assessment data, we get oral reading fluency, and then we get report cards. All sorts of data we get from this. Let me talk about some numbers. So in the state, 100% of schools are now registered on eSamvad. 100% of students, which are close to 8 lakh students across 1 to 12 grades in government schools, are registered on eSamvad through unique IDs. 99% of assessment data of all students is available on the app, and this is competency level data on assessments. We've recently started on attendance, so attendance data is still low, but we still get 16% attendance data. Close to 1.6 crore SMSs have been sent by teachers in a decentralized manner to parents for various types of communication around the child's education happening in government schools. 91% parents, we have confirmation who have received these SMSs and have acted upon these SMSs via direct parent interactions through parent-teacher meetings and also survey forms that we end up doing regularly. And overall, compared to the 65,000 odd student teacher strength in the state, we have close to 100% download participation of all teachers who are using now eSamvad. It has been widely recognized in the local and national media and also in international media. So what you see on the screen are 3 snippets of where eSamvad has been recognized. Brookings Institution had done a research on parent-teacher interaction in public schools, and eSamvad and Har Ghar Pachala were recognized as best practices from India, which could be shown to the world. And on other 2, NCRT and CBSE had also picked up eSamvad and Har Ghar Pachala as best practices in their compilation of online learning, which they did last year. It is also featured in the Education Network Technical Report, which was done by some researchers in the US. And there again, eSamvad has been picked up as a best practice. What are the aspects of replicability? I'll touch upon 6 key aspects. Parent engagement as a tool does not generally exist for government schools. It is assumed that government school parents will have to come to the school for parent-teacher meetings and then only will have any information about their child. But from this module, it becomes very easy to communicate with the parents. As I said earlier, we are very happy to share the source code because everything is open source and all states will be able to use this app for free. And very little time will be required for them to develop this on their own. From ideation to actual implementation, the app will probably take around 3 to 6 weeks, depending on what modules you want to use. Open source technologies also have high configurability. So right from basics like UI, UX of the app to developing small extra features in the app, everything is possible and doable. We also have following a modular architecture. And so therefore, this can also be, this does not have to be used as a standalone app. So if a Maharashtra or a Gujarat are using some app, and they only want specific modules to be integrated, that is also absolutely possible. As I said earlier, we have linked it to Diksha and along, and the idea always was to build an open and linkable, interchangeable and interlinkable app with the core principle of extensibility. And extensibility is a key thing because we never get into greenfield projects. Everywhere we go, we have brownfield areas where different products exist. So the idea is to be able to link to all of them. And scalability is right from the beginning because right from day one, we have been using it for lakhs of students and thousands of teachers. What are our next steps? So last few slides from our end. The next steps, we have enabled the Google feature of order reading fluency. We are piloting it now, and we will be launching it probably in the next few weeks. The student e-record. So what you see on the screen is the kind of report card that will be visible to each child, parent, and teacher for their classroom as well as for individual children. And we will be highlighting attendance, academic record of learning outcomes, and whether they are achieving a certain star rating or not, and giving them incentives and sort of motivation to achieve those star ratings. We are also linking it to school leaving certificates because we want to close the loop and make e-Samvad as the only mechanism where student enrollment and exit can take place. There are, of course, because there are areas where connectivity is low and access to data is low, there are still areas where registers and paper trails are used, but we want all of that to go away. And so therefore, SLC linkage is one key thing we'll do. And the other thing we'll do is, because we're now linked it to Diksha, we are also enabling teachers to be able to make decentralized worksheets, fully customizable to the chapters they're teaching, to the competencies they're teaching, so that they can create those worksheets on Diksha and then send it to parents and students via the eSamvad app. And in a very streamlined manner, where the teacher will only have to go on eSamvad and will be able to create these worksheets on the go. So all these next steps are actually in the works for this quarter. We should be able to do them by say August. Thank you.
Thank you. It's a very impressive initiative that you have taken, utilizing the digital portal in the learning and education sector, and especially focusing on various problems, as you rightly beginning said, that which includes the parents, teachers, and the government. And I'm very, very impressed in the way you effectively apply the digital technology in a personalized mode. So, I mean, I have nothing to say, but the only thing is that with the presentation, I have to repeat whatever you said. Avoiding that, I can say that is a very good model that you have developed, a great initiative, and merit. It seems that it is very well be accepted for replicability in other states. Thank you.
It's a very novel initiative, quite impressive. I agree with Mr. Panda, and it's a very good tool for bridging the communication gap between parents and teachers, besides other outcomes. So I strongly suggest that you build up as a good practice and spread across other states, because everybody needs it. The way things are going, a lot of people do not know what the children are doing in school, and the teachers don't know how to reach them. And it's a really difficult situation for them to manage, especially in the rural areas where the parents are not very well educated or not very well informed. So this app will really help them. I really suggest you make a case study, and you can use the SKOCH platform for showcasing your project.
Right, ma'am. We'll do this definitely. Thank you.